Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your host, Charles. I want to welcome you guys to the Dreamerspro Podcast. I'm one half of the Dreamerspro family. And in this podcast, we're just going to be getting into a lot of different things that I think are pretty interesting topics for you guys. I just first want to say, if you guys are listening to this audio podcast, you can definitely check us out on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is called Dreamerspro Show, so be sure to check us out on YouTube. And if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to check out our Dreamerspro Podcast. It's on Spotify and iTunes. We're going to have the link in the description below this video, so make sure you guys check that out and let us know what you guys think. So without further ado, let me just go ahead and get right into it. So I have some pretty interesting topics that I want to get into in this video today. And it's just some things that have been coming to my mind that I think you guys, the audience, are going to find interesting. And the first one is, will the whole Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving experiment work with the Brooklyn Nets? That's what I want to get into in this first topic today. And I think it's a good question because although we're currently experiencing an NBA season sort of pause because of what's happening in the world, there's still going to be a lot of interesting storylines coming out of the NBA next season that I think a lot of us are going to be really interested in knowing about. So I think it's good for us to just get ahead of the conversation for now, and let's just get into some interesting topics. So we all know that this past off season was an off season based on player movement and a lot of dynamic duos and parity all throughout the NBA. The first big shoe to drop, I believe, was Anthony Davis going to go sign with the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Lakers acquiring him, so setting up that dynamic duo between him and LeBron James. So that was the first dynamic duo. Then we had the second pairing with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving deciding to go play with the Brooklyn Nets. And that really made a big splash in the offseason. Then we had Paul George and Kawhi Leonard deciding to sign with the LA Clippers and creating this whole scenario between Battle of LA teams. And then, of course, we had Russell Westbrook going to go sign with the Houston Rockets. Now, all of these teams, of all of these mergers that I spoke about, the only one that we haven't really gotten a good look at is the one between Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. And why is that? Well, we all know that KD, the last time we saw him, he was in the NBA Finals last season. And I think he came back to play in game 5 or 6 where he ruptured his Achilles in the first quarter after hitting three-pointers at first quarter. And I think he had 11 points in the first quarter. And just basically reminding the world who he is, that he's Kevin Durant, pretty much. So that was the last time we saw of KD. Then Kyrie went to go play with the Brooklyn Nets, and he said that he decided to leave the Brooklyn Nets leave the Golden State Warriors because he just saw that situation as being something that he just didn't want to be a part of any longer. I think that whole Golden State Warriors thing had sort of ran its course for him. And he decided that he wanted to go sign and play with the Brooklyn Nets with his longtime buddy, Kyrie Irving, which brought a lot of intrigue. And a lot of people, like Stephen A. Smith, who likes to speak in a lot of hyperbole, he's always, saying really, he always gives a lot of hot takes. And he says that with the healthy Kevin Durant, he definitely picks the Brooklyn Nets to come out of the Eastern Conference next season. And we haven't had a chance to see how these two players are going to mesh, if their playing styles are going to mesh. The only thing that we do know about Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving is that they're really good friends. Now, let me just focus on one half of this dynamic duo. Let's start off with Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is probably the most entertaining basketball player to watch, with his handles, the way he finishes under the rim, his crossover. He can shoot from pretty much anywhere. But there's also another side to Kyrie Irving, which has been a knock on him, which has been his leadership skills or lack thereof. Going 2 seasons back, or I think 3 seasons back, the Boston Celtics had a player that we all have forgotten about in Isaiah Thomas, who led them to an Eastern Conference Finals, one or thing or the other happened, and he ended up being traded away from that team, I think, to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Then they signed Kyrie Irving, and who everyone agreed was an upgrade from the point guard position. Kyrie Irving signed with the Boston Celtics, and they started to have some success. Actually, they had started to have a lot of success. And I think they were one of the top 3 seeds in the Eastern Conference that season. But then Kyrie Irving got injured. And when he went down, I think Terry Rozier became the starting point guard, if I remember well. And it left the team to be run by basically a bunch of rooks, a bunch of young bucks, and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Rozier. And I think also at that time, Gordon Hayward hadn't been back from his injury. But nevertheless, this young team was able to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I think in a Game 7 against the Cleveland Cavaliers, who would eventually go to the NBA Finals. And Kyrie Irving was there in attendance watching those games. And a lot of people were beginning to ask, if this team can go to the NBA Finals potentially without Kyrie, they better get to the finals when he comes back. And some people were saying that Kyrie Irving had like a sigh of relief, like, whew, thank God they didn't get to the finals, because Jesus, if they got to the finals and then I come back the following season and they don't get to the finals, everyone is going to say I'm the reason that this team did not advance. So Kyrie Irving gets back, and what happens? The team starts to go through some internal issues. And Kyrie seemed to distance himself, and he started having issues with the upper management, with Danny Ainge, and players were like, Kyrie, there's a lot of people questioning his leadership skills. And in the end, the team did making the playoffs, and they had an early exit in the playoffs. And subsequently, Kyrie Irving decided to go sign with the Brooklyn Nets and bring along KD with him, who I'm going to get to in just a moment. So he brought along KD with him. But Kyrie Irving's reputation in the league was, this guy is not really a good leader. He's a sensational player, but he's not a good leader. Now, if we look at Kyrie Irving's career accomplishments, he's an NBA champion in 2000. He won his first championship in 2016 with LeBron James, and you all remember the go-ahead shot that he hit over Stephen Curry to really give the Cavs the lead. He's a 6-time All-Star. He's an All-Star Game MVP. He's been on one All-Second team, another All-Third team, and he was the NBA Rookie of the Year in 2012. This season, Kyrie Irving, although he's been in and out of the lineup due to injuries, and he's only played 20 games this season for the Brooklyn Nets, in that effort, he's averaging 27.4 points a game, 5.2 rebounds, and 6.4 assists, playing 33 minutes a game, shooting 48% from the field, 39.4% from the three-point line, 92% from the free throw line, and getting you 1.4 steals a game. So there's no one who just listened to that is going to question Kyrie Irving's ability to produce. It's a leadership question, which brings me now to Kevin Durant, who many consider to be the best player in the world when he's healthy. And Kevin Durant is a 2-time NBA champion, back-to-back, 2 times Finals MVP, regular season MVP in 2014, 10-time All-Star, been on 2-time All-Star Game MVP, 6 first teams, 3 second teams. So he's been at 9 All-NBA teams, Rookie of the Year in 2008, and is 4-time NBA scoring champion. And in 2013 was part of the 50-40 club. That's shooting 50% from the field, 40% from the three-point line, and 90% from the free throw line. KD is that elite. And that's Kyrie Irving's running rate. And the last time we saw KD, he averaged 26 points a game, 6.4 rebounds, and 5.9 assists. Was playing 35 minutes a game. He played 78 games for the Golden State Warriors in 2018-2019. He shot 35% from the three-point line, 52% from the field. My God. So efficient. 88% from the free throw line. and got you 1.1 blocks a game. KD is just on another level if we're talking about efficiency in his 12th season. And this is going to be Kyrie Irving's running mate. And the question is, will they work? The two of them. And it brings me back to some of the things that have transpired with KD, with his burner account that he's had. Kevin Durant seems to be a bit sensitive. He doesn't seem to have such thick skin. And both of them playing in the New York media, who's probably one of the most aggressive media in the entire country. It's going to be interesting to see if that team has any bumps along the road or has any hiccups, how they're going to be able to handle that New York media. And I think, to be quite honest with you, Kevin Durant is going to be the one that's going to have to take that team, take the bull by the horn, so to speak. And he's going to be the one that has to be the leader for that team, for that thing to work. I think no one is going to be relying on Kyrie Irving because Kyrie seems to be a little bit temperamental. So that's kind of been the knock against Kyrie. So will the experiment work? Who knows? The question is really for the audience because I don't know. I'm just sort of waiting to see what happens because it's going to be the first time we're going to see KD in this type of situation and Kyrie with this type of situation. Last time he was with LeBron and it didn't work out. Now, granted, they won an NBA championship together, but overall their relationship didn't work out because in the end, Kyrie Irving and LeBron just didn't mesh as personalities. It just didn't mesh. For whatever reason, the two of them didn't get along. Which brings me to my second topic, and we're going to talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks, and Giannis moving forward. I want to talk about Giannis. Now, Giannis, he's been a regular season MVP in 2019, been a four-time All-Star, been on one All-NBA first team, 2 second teams, been on 2 second defensive teams, and in 2017, he was the most improved player of the year. Giannis has come a long way. Currently, he's playing in his 6th season. This season is averaging 29.6 points a game, 13.7 rebounds, and 5 assists. And oh, by the way, if you're listening to this on the Dreamerspro Podcast, make sure you check out the YouTube channel, Dreamerspro, our YouTube channel. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you check out the Dreamerspro Podcast. It's on Spotify and iTunes. Again, the link is in the description below, so don't forget to check that out. Anyway, thus far this season, Giannis Antetokounmpo has played 57 games, playing 31 minutes a game, shooting 55% from the field, attempting 20 field goals a game, making 10.9, shooting 30% from the three-point line, 63% from the free throw line, getting you 1 steal and 1 block a game to go along with all the other numbers that I mentioned to you before. Now, his team is currently the number 1 team in the entire league. They have the best record at 53-12. Now, if we go a little bit further into the numbers for the Milwaukee Bucks, they're the number 1 team in the league as far as points per game. They're the number 1 team in the league when it comes to rebounds per game. They're the number 3 team in the league when it comes to blocks per game. And they're the number 3 team in field goal percentage in the league, shooting 47.7% from the field. If we go to three-pointers made, they're right up there in top 4. So this team is leading in all of the major statistical categories that you need to lead. And if you're looking to be an NBA championship caliber team, the Milwaukee Bucks are in that realm. But the question is, what's going to happen if Giannis loses? And by losing, I mean if at least he doesn't make it to the NBA Finals. Because if he makes it to the NBA Finals, at least we can say, hey, listen, this guy took a step forward. Because last season he made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now he's in the NBA Finals. So at least we can see a progression. And he's probably going to win the regular season MVP award, which is just a compounding type of success. Not that he's achieving something new. He's already done that. He's just sustaining a level of excellence. And I think it's a really good question. What will happen with Giannis if he does lose? And by losing, let's define what losing is. I think losing is if he doesn't at least get to the NBA Finals. I think if Giannis doesn't get to the NBA Finals, then there's going to be some questions that need to be asked. And the first question one would think is, what do we need to do to be able to get this team over the hump? What do we need to add? What do we need to tweak? Is it coaching? Is it staff? Does Giannis need to develop his game a bit further? Does he need to become a better perimeter player? Whatever it is, that's the first thing. And I think the first thing they're going to do is look at what can we do to improve? Because clearly for 2 seasons, this has not worked. The next question that can be asked is, and I think Giannis can ask this on a personal level, is, do I need to go play somewhere else? Do I have enough here in Milwaukee to be able to be successful to at least make it to the NBA Finals? This is assuming that they don't get to the Finals. And I think it's a very good question to ask, to be quite honest with you guys. And I think it's a question that Giannis will ask, maybe privately or within his inner circle, if the Milwaukee Bucks don't make it to the NBA Finals, because they would have had the best record in the regular season 2 years in a row and then not make it to the finals. Something is wrong. Last season was Kawhi. This season, what will be the excuse? So those are the two questions that Giannis may ask. Now, some people are saying that if he doesn't break through and at least get to the NBA Finals this season, that Giannis is going to walk. I don't know if that's true or not. Giannis seems to be a homer. He seems to be somebody that's content where he is. Not content where he is in his career, but content where he is currently because of his upbringing and the things that he's gone through. And he's currently, I think his brother is also on the Milwaukee Bucks. I believe so. His brother. His younger brother. So maybe Giannis is looking at this thing from a completely different level because of his upbringing. Maybe he's like, listen, I'm in a better position than I was before in my life. I'm in an organization that wants me. I'm in a place where I can grow. And maybe he may think, hey, listen, I'm going to ride this thing out all the way to the end and see if maybe I can end up closing out my career here with this one team. We don't know. No one knows. I'm not in the mind of Giannis. But the question still remains, what happens if Giannis loses? And I think all of the questions that I've put on the table, that I've trot out for you guys, I think these are all legitimate questions to ask. But the important question is, if Giannis does lose, what do you as the viewer, as the audience, what do you think Giannis should start thinking about? What do you think should happen? I want to know what you guys think about that. Leave your comments and thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think about that, because I think it's going to be a reoccurring theme moving forward in the NBA this season, because Giannis is in a perfect situation to at least make it to the NBA Finals, because his team has the number one record in the NBA. And I think they're probably going to have the number one record in the NBA for 2 years in a row. He's probably going to win the regular season MVP award. So this guy has found a way to position himself in a really strategic way to succeed. Now, if I'm going to go off of what I think about Giannis, I think he's going to look inward and say, okay, what can I do better? What do I need to improve upon? I think him leaving will sort of be a very last resort. I don't think he's just going to say, you know what, I tried it, I'm out. Some people have said, oh, maybe Giannis can potentially go play with the Golden State Warriors. Oh my God, I don't know how that's going to work, but whatever. And I'm not sure, but I think Giannis is in a pretty good situation. I think if they lose, maybe they can get a legitimate second all-star to come and play with him. Maybe trade away Chris Middleton, who's an all-star. He's a probably top 25, top 20 NBA player, but maybe go out there and get him a top 15 player, I don't know, to come and play with him, maybe to pacify him, to make sure that he stays. So there are going to be a lot of questions surrounding Giannis this offseason. A lot of questions, especially him, because there are a lot of expectations for the Milwaukee Bucks, and I'm sure he feels the same way about that, and I'm sure he has a bitter taste for the way the playoffs ended last season, because I'm sure in his mind he believed that the Milwaukee Bucks were destined to make the NBA Finals. But I guess we just have to wait and see what happens with that. Because as of now, I don't know. And finally, to close it out, I want to talk about, excuse the background noise, guys. I can't control that. The question is, was Ray Allen selfish for leaving the Boston Celtics? We're going to go back in time a little bit. Although it's current. Why? Why am I bringing this up? Because Paul Pierce, who is also a contributor on ESPN, was recently on the podcast with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson called All the Smoke, I believe. I think is provided by Showtime. I'm not sure. And he was on there talking about and just reflecting over his NBA career. And in this episode, he spoke about a number of things. When he was stabbed in a club, spoke about his time in Boston, when he was not winning, spoke about the Big Three, spoke about the NBA as it is now, gave his thoughts on LeBron, and so many different things. But we all remember that original Big Three with the Boston Celtics. We all remember that team, don't we? Now, this team was assembled in the 2007-2008 season. I remember, because that was the same year that the Lakers had a really good chance of winning the NBA championship when Kobe was getting ready to start his second run for NBA championships. And they were able to build that team, the Boston Celtics, through trades. Because the season before, the Boston Celtics had won 25 or 27 games. I don't remember the exact number. And Paul Pierce was just sitting there like, what is happening with my career? What is really, really going on with my career? He didn't seem to know what was going to happen. Now, the season before, he averaged 25 points a game. He shot 44% from the field, 39% from the three-point line, 80% from the field, got you 5.9 rebounds, 4.1 assists that season. But the following season, that offseason is when they were able to acquire the big ticket in Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen. And he said once they traded for Ray Allen, he said, okay, I guess we're not going through a rebuild. I guess this is not going to be a rebuild. We're not going into a rebuild situation. Excuse the noise in the background, by the way. I don't know what that is. And he was pretty happy. He was pretty hype about that. And then before you knew it, the Boston Celtics acquired Kevin Garnett. And he was like, whoa. Now we lit. Now it's on. And that wasn't something he anticipated. That was not something he anticipated. Now, doing some research, I've heard the reason why Kevin Garnett, his whole thought process of how he decided to go play with the Boston Celtics and the mental gymnastics that he went through, the wrestling back and forth of whether or not he should leave Minnesota. Because Kevin Garnett is very similar to Giannis Antetokounmpo in that same vein. He believes in sticking with the team that drafted him and being loyal to that organization. But ultimately, he decided that, you know what, I'm going to go play with the Boston Celtics. And he saw some games of Rajon Rondo, and he said, keep that dude. I like that dude. He couldn't even pronounce his name. But he said, I like that dude, Rajon, whatever it is, keep him. Keep that dude. So Kevin Garnett ended up coming to sign with the Boston Celtics, which created the original Big Three, at least the original Big Three in modern times. And when that team got together, they clicked instantly. That year, the Boston Celtics won 66 games after integrating 3 stars on their team. They won 66 games, and Paul Pierce described it perfectly why that was the case. He said the reason that was the case was because they had a tremendous amount of chemistry. They built chemistry on and off the court. He first of all said that team was full of a bunch of wolves, a bunch of dogs, and himself, Kevin Garnett, Kendrick Perkins, Rajon Rondo, Tony Allen, Leon Poe, I believe his name was, and others. They were just a bunch of goons. That's how he said. He said they were probably the meanest team in the league, and he said a lot of teams were scared to play them. That's how they played each other. And when the Lakers in that 2007-2008 season lost to the Boston Celtics, Kobe said, he said that we basically just played a team that was just meaner than us. They were just meaner and they were nastier than we were. He said they were just a nastier team than we were. And we had to get tougher on that side of the ball. It had nothing to do with skill. It had everything to do with attitude. And the Lakers would ultimately come and play them 2 years later in 2010, 2009, 2010 season and get revenge on them and win that NBA championship. Further cementing and, cementing the whole Boston, LA lore in the NBA. The two biggest fan bases in the NBA. But back to the Boston Celtics. So he said these guys that would click on and off the court. He would, have a lot of parties at his house. I forgot the name of the party he termed it. But he would invite everybody over. Everybody would just chill from like 2 a.m. to maybe 6 a.m. in the morning. Everybody would just vibe and they would go out together and they would hang out together and build this camaraderie that was rare. And the results spoke to that for a team that just met each other and for them to gel so well off the court and then go out there and win. He said they were like brothers. And that's how everyone on the Boston Celtics viewed each other, as brothers. So what happened? The Boston Celtics, and by the way, again, if you guys are listening to this on the Dreamerspro Podcast, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. Is called Dreamerspro, where we have a lot of hot, content for you guys, basketball videos that you guys may love. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to check out the Dreamerspro Podcast. It's on Spotify and iTunes. Again, the link is in the description below. Don't forget to go and check that out and follow us and let us know what you guys think. Anyway, back to the topic. So, what happened with this big three? They gelled, they came together, and they won that championship, and they beat the Lakers in the finals in their first season. And they had a pretty, they had a collection of players that were really difficult to deal with when it comes to personalities. Ray Allen, Rajon Rondo, Paul Pierce, KG. I mean, just listen to that combination, and Kendrick Perkins. And it was said that Ray Allen and Rajon Rondo always bumped heads, and Ray Allen always used to go to the coach and it's like, I can't play with this dude. And Rajon Rondo was one of those players that just couldn't, he was just one of those people that sort of operated to his own tune of his own drums. He just did what he wanted to do. And even him and Doc Rivers will clash because he's such a difficult personality to manage. So they went to the NBA Finals. They won that championship. The next year they didn't go because I think of injuries, and in the third year they went to the finals again and lost to the Lakers. So they went to the finals 2 out of 3 years. And then I think came the time from the offseason when players had to make decisions in free agency. And I think Ray Allen was at odds with the Boston Celtics. And Paul Pierce was trying to reach out to him to get a sense of what he was thinking, and he wasn't taking any of his calls. And I think some other teammates were trying to reach out to him, and he wasn't taking anybody's calls to let them know, hey, where's your mind at? And before anybody knew it, Ray Allen had signed with who? The Miami Heat, which were the nemesis of the Boston Celtics because that's where LeBron played. And Paul Pierce said LeBron was our nemesis. So for him to go sign with the team that beat them, he's like, bro, what is that about? And for you not to communicate to any of this to any of your brothers, he said to him was like a slap in the face. This is what Paul Pierce said. He said to him it was like a slap in the face. And it was something that just did not sit well with him, and it didn't sit well with the other teammates that he had. And Kevin Garnett, to this day, has never forgiven Ray Allen for that, which is unbelievable. We're talking about over 10 years ago, 2008, 2018, 12 years ago, something that happened 12 years ago going on. And Kevin Garnett never forgave him for that. And now, Paul Pierce says he's gotten over it, and now him and Ray Allen are in a better place. But the question is, was Ray Allen wrong for that? Was he selfish for that? Now, some of you guys listening to this may say, but, who's Paul Pierce? What has he accomplished? And this is his career. Paul Pierce is an NBA champion, NBA Finals MVP in 2008, 10-time All-Star, been on 3 NBA teams, a second team, been on 4 All-NBA teams, 3-point contest, he won the 3-point contest in 2010, and one of the greatest Boston Celtics of all time, and most likely a future Hall of Famer. For his career, he averaged 19.7 points a game, 5.6 rebounds, and 3.5 assists. So Paul Pierce definitely wasn't a scrub. Ray Allen is a 2-time NBA champion, one in 2008 and one in 2013 with the Miami Heat. 10-time NBA All-Star, been on 2 All-NBA teams, won the NBA Sportsmanship Award in 2003, won the NBA three-point shooting contest in 2001. And he's probably going to go down as one of the greatest players of all time and one of the greatest, he's going to go down the Hall of Fame and, one of the 3-point leaders, scorers of all time. He averaged 19 points a game, 4 rebounds, and 3.4 assists for his career. And he played for 17 years. But the question is, was Ray Allen selfish for that? And the answer is, it all depends on which vantage point you're looking at it. Ray Allen seemed to be at odds with the Boston Celtics because they didn't want to pay him right. So for Ray Allen, he was making the right decision for him and his family. Paul Pierce and the Boston Celtics were looking at it like, hey, I thought we were brothers, at least communicate with us. And for them, they thought he made the selfish decision. So I guess it basically depends on who you ask. So that's why I'm going to pose the question to the audience. Do you think that Ray Allen was selfish for leaving the Boston Celtics to go play with the Miami Heat? That's what I want to know from you guys in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Again, if you're listening to this on the Dreamerspro Podcast, make sure you check us out on YouTube. It's called Dreamerspro. And again, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you check out the Dreamerspro Podcast. The link is in the description below. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And most importantly, don't forget to be safe. Wishing you guys a great day. Peace.